Hello there, my name is Holland Bankson. Today I'm going to be presenting to you about human trafficking and a policy I have proposed for it. Here's my keyword outline. Alright, let's get going. Alright, sorry, I'm going to focus this real quick. Alright, human trafficking, a vicious cycle and a solution, presented by Holland Bankson. So today what I'm going to talk to you about is human trafficking and how it is a cyclical issue that entraps kids at a very young age. It keeps them locked in. They're raised in it, and then all of a sudden they're just stuck in it for the rest of their lives. And traffickers tend to bring these kids in at a very young age, and so it's very difficult to stop it before it happens. Basically this industry is just terrible. These kids are coming from abusive and unsafe homes, and so the traffickers end up targeting those kids because they're emotionally unstable and probably financially unstable, and so they're damaged. And so these people go for them and they offer them empty promises of stability and love and money. And so we just have to combat that issue. And so today I'm going to present to you a solution that will help take down this industry piece by piece. These are some statistics from the study done by Jody Raphael and Brenda Myers-Powell called Victims to Victimizers, and it's with interviews of 25 pimps that they did, ex-pimps. And so these are the statistics. Basically it is, I'm going to stand like this, okay. 88% of traffickers were physically abused as kids, and then 76 were sexually abused as kids, and then most were in homes with domestic violence, alcohol and drug abuse, and then also prostitution that was already in that home, and so they were introduced to it at a very young age. So something about this is just, it really reinforces the idea of the cyclical nature of prostitution and human trafficking, because these traffickers, these people that are trafficking kids, grew up with this in their homes. They were used to it. This is something that they were accustomed to, and that's a big reason why they became a part of it as adults, because they knew that it could offer that financial stability to the traffickers, to the pimps, and so they went after that. So the cyclical nature, this is going to be a diagram. After this quote right here, we've got, there's a significant relationship between maltreatment, victimization, and maltreatment perpetration. So this is exemplifying the idea of cyclical nature. So basically, this is a quote by Terrence Thornberry, by the way. He is a professor and a psychologist at University of Maryland. He wrote a study called Breaking the Cycle of Maltreatment, the Role of Safe, Stable, and Nurturing Relationships. And this is a quote by him. It's basically talking about how these people that are victimized as children become the victimizers as they grow up, and that's just very representative of the cyclical nature. And then here's the infographic that we're going to talk about. So first we've got the child gets trapped into prostitution, and then the child is now enslaved. They experience various forms of trauma and abuse. They'll get pregnant. They raise children under the same circumstances, and then they accumulate debt and continue to get psychological consequences from being in this, and then the cycle continues. And then this circle right here, this is my project. This is the project intervention point right here, and that's before the child gets trapped into prostitution. So that's our goal. If we can interfere and break the cycle, we can save many kids from getting trapped into this process, and those that are trafficked become mothers and fathers of kids that end up trafficking as well. So yeah, that's a really big issue. This program is a governmental program. It is very similar to Startup, which is an educational system by a government program. So these are the steps of the program, how we're going to enact it. So step one, we're going to identify the areas with the highest poverty and crime rates. As much as we would love to reach out to as many places as we can, we're going to start small and make sure that we can implement this program properly before we expand as far as we can. And then step two, we're going to employ 2 to 3 people that organize and coordinate the program. So they will be in charge of, setting up the play dates and the hangouts, being in charge of the kids and those that are mentors. Step 3, we're going to pair with local schools who can recommend kids that may need our help and things like that. Make sure that we are getting to everyone in the area that we possibly can. And then step 4, we're going to find volunteers for mentors. Exemplary high school students and college students are definitely a great group of kids that we would love to have, because they can, bond with these people and be their comrade, like they can just be someone that they reach out to and are friends with, and that gives them a sense of stability to be around someone around the same age, or even just a little bit of a mentor that can really they can look up to. And then also we're going to be looking for local parents and adults that can be more of a parental figure, because a lot of these kids don't have that at home. They don't have someone that is, responsible and showing them what to do with their lives and how to do certain things like cook and stuff like that. So parents, adults, and then college and high school students. The program will be focusing on mentorship of young kids that would be most vulnerable to trafficking. So this would be kids with unstable home life, or are in poverty, or are victims of domestic violence and sexual abuse. So these are things provided by the National Human Trafficking Hotline. They have a list of characteristics that make a person more vulnerable to human trafficking. We'll go over that later, but these are the top 3 that we've thought we would briefly go over. So we're also going to provide meals when possible. So these mentors could take them to dinner, take them to lunch, teach them how to cook lasagna. They're just going to hang out with them and make sure that they feel that sense of stability, that they have somebody to rely on every day. And then we're also going to have them going on hangouts and play dates with their mentors, like going to the park, studying, and helping them find a job, or maybe a dinner or lunch, things like that. So this is really just a very good mentorship program. It's going to show these kids that they do have someone stable to rely on in their life. How do we decide which kids are going to be admitted to the program? These are going to be kids that are the most vulnerable to trafficking, and they will be encouraged to be a part of the program. And what makes a child most vulnerable to trafficking? A child is most likely to be trafficked if they have an unstable living situation, if they have previously experienced forms of violence such as sexual abuse or domestic violence, or if they have run away or are involved in the juvenile justice or child welfare program, if they are undocumented immigrants, are facing poverty or economic need, have a caregiver or family member who has a substance abuse issue, or are addicted to drugs or alcohol. So these are going to be the things that you'd look for, or we would look for, in people that need assistance to kind of help them be less vulnerable to trafficking. So these are the things that would make someone most vulnerable to trafficking. And then over here we have a quote. This is from voicesforchildren.org. This says, "The trafficker will play on the vulnerability exposed by their victim to gain power and ensure loyalty." This is basically just reinforces the idea that vulnerability is really something that traffickers look for, and so that's something that we're trying to combat. The goal of the program is to intervene in the child's life to give them a sense of stability and someone to rely on, as most of the kids in the program probably lack that mentorship at home or in their everyday lives. So these are going to be the 3 things that we really emphasize in the program. This is going to be friendship, mentorship, and stability, and those are the things that really combat that vulnerability in a kid's life. So these are things that we're really going to combat, and these are images from stock, and they were free to use. And this is that quote again, just reinforcing the idea that the traffickers really do look for vulnerability, and so our goal is to give them confidence and give them life skills. So I want you to think for a minute about when you were a kid and how there was more than likely a kid in your class or a kid in your grade that really just had money problems at home, and everyone really kind of worried for them. Well, little did you know that that person was more vulnerable to trafficking. And so we really want to think about that now and reach out to them before that becomes an issue. So we want to give them a mentor, give them someone to give them stability before it becomes an issue. And you can do that. That can be something that you can be involved in. So let's get this done. One of the most important things that you can do for this program is to vote. Go talk to your candidates in your local elections. Go talk to your mayoral candidates and people like that who are going to be making differences in your town. They are the people that are going to have policies about this, so talk to them about it and then vote accordingly. And that's something that's very, very important, and you can actually do that right now, considering it's November. So other things that you can do are volunteer and become mentors for the programs, and you can also raise awareness for the issue and try to get your friends and family involved. These are some infographics I made for Instagram and Facebook that you can basically just post that make awareness easier. So you can just post this and someone could ask you, and you could send them a link to a website, things like that. Just helping get the word out there about this issue is so important because so many people don't realize how big of an issue it is. So our biggest goal right now is to make a difference, and I encourage you to be a big part of this. Make a difference, be a part of this, vote to put this program into place. This is something that will change the world. Today I've presented to you a solution for a rampant issue in the United States and all across the globe. And a program like this could really change the lives of thousands of people, and especially of kids. The program has the capability to make a monumental change in the world, and that is something that's very important to me, something that I'm certain is very important to you. All I need is a little bit of support, help raise awareness, and this is something that would be great. By enacting a program for youth mentorship, we can keep kids out of harm's way and keep them out of this terrible cycle. So today, let's take down human trafficking one step at a time. So we're going to take them down through our program, through each mentor, through each kid that we're saving, and we're going to help save the world, help save human trafficking, okay? Thank you, and have a great day.